Matt, Spurs fan. Matt, what do you make of what's going on?
Is next to you Rory Jennings, yeah?
Uh-oh, Matt, be kind, Matt. Be kind. He's my good friend.
No, it's not about being kind. Are you a Spurs fan, fella?
No,
fella.
I'm Liverpool.
You're not?
No.
You're not? Okay. So, the previous guy was talking about when was the last time Spurs got
signed a world-class player, yeah.
Yeah, who was going to answer that question? Because whatever you lot were saying was gibberish to me, because the last world-class player that come to the football club was Jurgen Klinsmann.
No, Matt, what we said, and we actually said the same thing about Liverpool. We said, who does sign world-class players? You make them into world-class players. Who was the last world-class player Liverpool signed?
To what?
Signed. What was the last world-class player that came to Liverpool as a world-class player?
I don't know.
So that's my point.
Exactly.
That's my point. No one does do
that. You turn them into
world-class
players.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. You see, at Spurs, yeah, they're over the years, when I say over the years, bar 2001 onwards, Tottenham were signing the players that every other club was they're envious of the players they were signing. Since this guy's been at the club, the football club has gone backwards in terms of players, signing players, the quality they're bringing in, and all you can visualise is this man wants to bring in a player for a certain price, and if he's any good, we're going to sell him on. That's all he's got in his head. Now, when you look at what we've got, he hasn't signed one individual. Now, I was listening to you guys earlier on.
But Matt, he's been given 60 million and he signed Dom Solanke.
Mate, who was given 60 million?
He bought Dominic Solanke for 60 million.
65
million, apologies.
Need to tell me, fella, you need to tell me who bought. Because you said he bought. Who bought?
Ange Postecoglou.
I'll tell you what, how about me having a little side bet with you for charity that I bet you any money I could tell you Ange Postecoglou hasn't spent one penny of that football club.
But it's sanctioned by
that's
him,
sanctioned.
isn't it?
That's not a side bet. That's every club.
You think that Ange Postecoglou went under no circumstances signed Dom Solanke?
Well, let me tell you, when you've got no other option, you haven't got a striker at the football club, and I tell you I can get this player, and you know that if I don't get this player, I could get something really maybe from Italy, from Spain, don't know nothing about. Of course he's going to accept it. But the bottom line is his cheap wages. He's a fifth choice England international, and he's pony. Let's be honest, the guy's not great. And when you look at this football club, that's what he buys. He buys bang average footballers, and he hopes these bang average footballers become good players. Look at that team that Tottenham have got. Did you say Song went off the boil? Are you serious? The guy's 32. He shouldn't be at the club. And did you say? And that's what made me call up, because I thought I've got to speak to this guy.
Go on, Matt.
You said James Maddison was of England quality.
Mate, you lot were raving about Maddison after the City game. Spurs fans were raving. Matt, come on, Matt, be fair, Matt. Spurs fans were raving about him after the City game.
Please, matey, please don't tell me us Spurs fans.
No, I said Spurs fans. I said Spurs fans. I know Spurs fans as well, Matty. You're not the only Spurs fan that calls up.
No, do you know what? I talk the truth. Everybody sits behind computers and talks about Spurs. I tell you the realities of Spurs. And the reality of this football club is players like Maddison at the football club, where Mr. Goldstein back in the day was saying to me, "Oh, he's a snip. He's a snip boy from Leicester." Look at it, right? If this guy was of that quality, he can't even get into this England side, by the way. If he was of that quality, do you not think the Chelseas, the Man Uniteds, the Man Cities, the Liverpools, do you not think they would have bought him? Do you know why they never?
Matt, very quickly, serious question. Do Forest have a better squad than you?
Who?
Forest.
Talk to me about someone.
No, I'm asking, do Forest, because your squad's weak. I'm asking, do Forest, who are above you, have a better squad than Spurs?
Well, no, at this present moment in time, it looks like that. Yeah, of course, I'm not going to deny that.
Do Fulham have a better squad than you?
Yeah, right now, yes, absolutely.
Of course they don't. They don't have a better squad.
They
don't have a better squad.
They have a better manager.
They have a better manager
than you.
But
they don't have a better squad.
The players play the football, not the manager. The manager can say what they want. Once they pass the line, it's down to the players. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about well-run clubs, shall we?
Matt, do me a favour, Matt, very quickly. Matt, I don't want to cut you off, but we've got to go break. Stay on the line. We were speaking to Matt before the break. Matt, you still there?
I am, mate.
He is still there, Matt. All right. Matt, have you calmed down just a little bit?
Do you know what I am calm, mate? You know, I spoke to Jamie O'Hara and Cundy last night. And, it's like if there's a propaganda against, this manager, everyone's on this bandwagon about how this manager's ain't got a plan B and he pays his high line. And do you know what? Sometimes, you guys have to look at it and go, stop blaming the managers. Pochettino told you, change my title. That's an obvious thing. That's telling you I'm not buying no players. Jose, similar. Conte, well, if you didn't listen to that rant, if you're a Spurs fan and you don't understand what he said.
No, fair. I agree with that. I agree with it. When you've had managers like that and they've all sort of complained and pointed towards the board, obviously pointing towards Daniel Levy, I get what he's saying, Rory.
Although I think that with certain managers, context is key. So, for example, with Mauricio Pochettino, and you brought that one up, and you're totally right to. Pochettino was given literally no money to spend. He ended up getting to a Champions League final, literally no money to spend. That isn't true for Postecoglou. These are different examples, aren't they? Postecoglou has been backed.
But there's a difference. This is what you can't see. As a Spurs fan, you need to see this, right? Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, what a great businessman he is! He makes this money. He makes." Do you realise how much money the football club's lost on individuals, pony players like Lo Celso, like Chiriches, like Lamela, like Ndombele? He spends this money. He spent £85 million of Bale's money back in the day. Where's that gone? He only had Ericsson and he milked Ericsson dry, basically.
But if we agree...
But has Postecoglou, Matt, been backed?
No, he hasn't, no. He's been given players that he can get in terms of, like, for argument's sake. Look, let me make it clear to you, Arsenal, right? You got Kroenkes. Now, Arsenal was no different 6-7 years ago. You had the Kroenkes and you had Levy. Now, when you got Kroenkes nicking £10 million, Arsenal fans went up in arms, going mad. So what did they do? Use their brain, son. Josh, you come. We're going to put Edu in a footballing man. Let him liaise with the manager. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell them, this is your budget. Rather than us putting a chief executive and putting a player in, telling him we got this player and we got that player, you're going to have this or this is the budget. Let's give it to Edu and say to Edu, this is your budget. Now, when he gives Edu a budget, Edu then liaises with Arteta. And Arteta starts saying, I want that player, I want this player. So they can go within that budget and get that player. But at Tottenham, this is the difference. Antonio Conte said, I want a right wing back. He probably went to Italy and said, I want this individual, blah, blah, blah. What does Levy do? I'll tell you what, I'll go to Nottingham Forest. They've got the best right back in the country, right wing back. Jed Spence, I'll bring him in. And what did Conte do? He said hello to him as soon as he turned up at the training ground and put him to one side. Because you know what? That is not what I wanted. But that is what you get at Spurs. That is what you get at Arsenal. And look where Arsenal's been in the last 5 years. Now let's revert back, yeah? 6 years ago, you're talking about Champions League final. Yeah? Who was it? Rory, was you talking about a Champions League final?
Yes, I was talking about a Champions League final.
Right. Now listen to this, Rory. Tell me, and I want you to be honest with this, tell me one Arsenal player that could have got in that Tottenham side back then.
The Tottenham team under Pochettino was a better team than Arsenal had in that same era.
I'm asking you that. Mate, I'm not asking you that.
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about the Arsenal team of that era.
I'm asking you to find me one Arsenal player back then to get in the Tottenham side of that era.
I don't think, off the top of my head, I'm thinking about the Arsenal side of that era.
Ozil.
It wasn't quite...
Wasn't Ozil around? He was.
No, it would have been Emery's team, right?
Listen.
Ozil was there.
Yeah, Aubameyang
and Ozil.
No, he's not getting in front of Harry Kane for love of money.
Ozil would. You said name one, I did.
Listen, Ozil had immense quality, but he was lazy.
He's getting in. Matt, he's getting in the squad. Matt is getting in the squad. And Matt would have gone on and on there, wouldn't he?
I like him.
He's passionate though. I love passionate fans.
Matt, that was superb.
Matt,
I rate
fantastic.
it. I rate it so highly.
But we've got to give other callers an opportunity as well. It's not just Spurs versus Spurs. It is Spurs taking on Chelsea. So let's get the Chelsea point of view as well. I know Rudy Smudge has been waiting for a while. Smudge, apologies, mate. You must be confident.
Cool.
You must be confident going to, I'm going to call it the Lane, because that's still what it is for me. You must be confident going to Lane on Sunday. How do you think you've done so far? Enzo Maresca, fantastic job, hasn't he?
Done a great job at the moment, and he's improving players. And I'm looking at the Chelsea side, and I think, well, what Spurs player will get into our Chelsea side now? And I'm having difficulty here, but perhaps Maddison and Son might get in. I'm just wondering what's happened to Werner. I mean, he wasn't too good at Chelsea, and he hasn't improved really at Spurs, has he?
No. I mean, he was a terrible player at Chelsea. I think he could easily make his way into an all-time worst Chelsea 11, don't you? Him and Chris Sutton up front.
Yeah, could probably. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Chelsea fans sort of wonder, well, we got Chris Sutton, but that's another story. But but is the manager improving players, or what's he doing exactly? Because our manager is improving our players. Mm-hmm. We can see that in the Curricula, or whatever his name is, at left back. Spanish bloke with long hair.
Cucurella.
Yeah.
Cucurella.
There's the front line. Jackson's improved, or he's improving.
No, I think you're right. There's an awful lot of that happening. There's an awful lot of players that are being improved.
Like, what player has improved? Like 100%, no questions asked, under Ange Postecoglou at Spurs. Like, what player can you think of and think, he's actually got way better?
None.
Because I almost feel like Udogi's regressed this season
literally none. James Maddison's not the player that he was at the beginning of last season.
No,
none.
Kulusevski's
Kulusevski's better this season. But you just wonder if that's incidental as well.
Yeah, interesting. Smarja, just before I let you go, is he still there very quickly? Score prediction.
3-1.
3-1. There you go, 3-point lane. That's what he calls it. Let's go to Joe, a Spurs fan. Joe, you probably heard Matt there. Obviously very passionate. And look, to be fair, we love the passion at talkSPORT. But what's your take on Postecoglou? Matt said, no, he's not been given money to spend. And you look at the players that have come in, he has been given a bit of money to spend. Yes, they might not be first choice, but no one really gets the first choice. What have you made of his tenure as Spurs manager?
I partly agree with Matt. It's not all on Postecoglou. I partly agree with him, but I will say something I thought I'd never say, which is I agree with Rory.
How's that possible?
we need some sort of like miraculous music there. It's never been known. Thank you very much. What did I say? What do we agree on?
No, so no one had the answer for why Tottenham can go to City, win 4-0, and then lose to
Bournemouth or Ipswich. Lose to Ipswich the week before.
Yeah, like the answer to that is exactly what Rory said. We are a mentally weak side. The reason we can go to the Etihad and perform is because the players don't. They think to themselves, well, if we lose this game, no one's going to bat an eyelid. No one cares. Like it's City, they're the champions. So let's just go out there with a bit of freedom, and all of a sudden everyone wants to play. The moment there's a bit of pressure, we're at home to Ipswich, we're away to Bournemouth, but these are teams we should beat. We just freeze up.
It's an interesting take, that, isn't it? Because
weak. And actually, go on.
No, go on, Joe. No, I was going to say it's an interesting take because you're right. I mean, going to City is a free hit, isn't it? It's a free hit. No one expects you to win.
Yeah, no, and it's been no coincidence that over the last few seasons we've been beating City because, like Rory said, and like I'm saying, we're a mentally weak side. But I won't put that mental weakness down to Postecoglou. I won't actually put that mental weakness down to Daniel Levy either. To be honest, I mean, yes, he could sign better players. He's made some big mistakes, but if you really look at it, in our history, we've never had, before I was probably born, we've never had a team that's been mentally strong, that's been like renowned for being mentally tough. We haven't had players in the team that are mentally tough players and are renowned for being that. The Tony Adams is there, I say it, the Martin Keowns, those type of guys. Tottenham have never really had players like that. And so when we buy these new players and they come into the dressing room, the culture's still there. It's passed on to them. They're thinking, well, there was no one before us that really fought for this badge, that really demonstrated what it's like to put this shirt on. There's no one before us that's demonstrated or done that. Do you think Martin Keown's going to let those players get away with playing like we're playing in an Arsenal shirt?
No, you're right.
So
Once there's no culture at the club, which is important, once there is no culture and no sort of leaders, then you do have a problem. Joe, fantastic call.
Yeah, it's a great call because that's exactly what Tottenham are, and it's true. It's not just on Postecoglou's watch, but it's Postecoglou's watch now, and that's why we have to acknowledge it. They are a flimsy team. They are totally lacking in fight. There's no heart. There's no guts. There's no real spine. Because you know what you need in football matches sometimes? You need players who simply won't allow you to lose.
Who's the leader on that pitch? I know who's the captain. Who's the leader, though? It isn't always the person with the captain's armband. When you look at that Spurs squad, who do you think stands out as the guy that's going to be in the change room after going mental?
I genuinely don't know. Like you know when you think about when Tottenham were good, when they, say when they reached the Champions League final, I think Harry Kane is a leader.
Yeah.
He's a leader by example,
Not
if
really
not in
vocally,
the. But equally, players like Alderweireld, Eric Dyer.
Yeah.
They demand victory. They demand a certain standard, and I just don't think that's there at Tottenham at the moment.
Yeah, Lloris was one as well. Obviously, Lloris,
absolutely.
because when he went away with France, you had leaders, which obviously transferred to him. He's not there anymore as well. I do wonder. A couple of texts I want to read out very quickly. Remember, you can text us 81089. I disagree with you guys. All this turning on Ange Postecoglou so vociferously is pathetic, immature and damaging to the club. You win some, you lose some. That's it there, innit? That's the problem. What's wrong with everyone? These clowns do it every flipping manager Spurs get. Idiots. Grow up and get behind your manager. I think that's the problem. That you win some, you lose some. It's not big club mentality.
No, you want it all. It's greedy.
You want everything.
You need
it's
to be
not
greedy.
You win some, you lose some. We want to win everything.
You see, this is the problem because you know sometimes in certain clubs you end up with certain players that just won't allow you to lose. The reason why you end up winning is because Frank Lampard won't allow you to lose. The reason why Arsenal would end up winning is because Thierry Henry wouldn't allow them to lose. The reason why Liverpool win game after game, Mohamed Salah won't allow them to lose. Who is that player for Tottenham? Who is demanding an elevation of the standards from every single player in that team?
I don't know.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.